first thing that we need governments to do to fully implement their obligations under the Beijing Platform is to create the binding accountability mechanisms to deliver on those promises made in the Beijing Platform and elsewhere.
We have a lot that we have to ask from our governments. What is your accountability? How can you have agreed 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, to this extremely comprehensive plan of action?
After 20 years, all the 12 critical areas of concerns are still very relevant. And in addition to that, there's also emerging new issues that we need to tackle, like migration, people live with HIV/AIDS, and aging, etc.
The Beijing Platform for Action has been such an important document which has been the foundation and the direction to move forward for gender equality and peace. But over the years, the enforcement and implementation hasn't taken that kind of momentum. So I think on the occasion of the Beijing Plus 20, we need to rekindle that momentum, that excitement.
So it's our responsibility with the state to review the policies of all the gender perspective on international or human rights, where we can include the concerns of women with disabilities. And at the same time, the second step we could do is to include women with disabilities at all levels. They have to be on the decision making, on the implementation, and they have to be strong. And the third aspect is very important, to have them as the leaders, because women with disabilities are the best advocates of their rights. So we have to include them as the leaders.
Gender equality has been the very basic principle in past 20 years discussion. However, gender diversity has been ignored during the gender equality discussion. I think gender diversity should become a tool to look through the whole process, to look through the whole statement. And then you will find new things, you will find many people, many women are actually excluded from the current discussion, like lesbian and bisexual, and especially trans women.
It's incredibly important that 20 years after Beijing and the declaration and the platform of action, that we're not talking just about reaffirming our commitment to Beijing. What we need is urgent acceleration of the implementation of the Beijing Declaration. And for us, what that means in the Pacific is that we've got to have explicit and specific attention to the issues of women, climate change and environment. I mean, we know that women and environment is one of the critical areas under Beijing, but for us, we've got to say that, 20 years ago there was, of course, discussion around climate change, but nowhere near the scale and the urgency that we need to be addressing climate change now.
We feel that youth voices should be considered as legitimate and as informed a perspective as any other. This will go a long way towards our own work at creating cultural change on sexual harassment and other issues from the ground up. Young people need to be meaningfully involved in shadow reports and governmental decision making. To leave us out of any of these processes is to risk the sustainability of implementing any change.
I think overall, governments in this region have not responded, have not taken their responsibilities. And I think it's very important that we put in place, we require from, as civil society activists, we demand from governments accountability. We want governments to show us, and we want them to show us how they're going to fulfill the promises that they made at the Beijing conference and in the Beijing Platform for Action.
But I think the most important is to look at those issues in the interlinked way, not in the siloed way, and also look to tackle those issues based on the human rights principle.
At this moment in time, we know that we have to create new systems. We have to create new economies. We have to create a new global order, one that has feminist movements driving it. And that is my hope, that in the next 5 years, our feminist movements in this region, those at the local level, at the grassroots, those at the national level, those at the regional level, will come together with those at the global level to demand a new framework of development justice.